Well, first of all, I think Joe, I don't know what he ended up like, what, 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 on field goals, and they were all, I mean, they weren't chip shots. I think only one of those was really, like maybe inside the 20-yard line. The rest of them were 35 to 45 yarders, so that was encouraging. On the kickoffs, he had a couple good kickoffs, and when he was kicking off into the wind, maybe not as good. So there's things to improve on. I think from a punting standpoint, we had some good punts, and we had some punts that we need to speed up the operation as well as the consistency in how we hit the ball. But I think probably more than anyone out there on the field, today, and I thought Joe handled this, pretty well, is when you have bad conditions, how is it going to affect you as a specialist? And I thought Joe handled it really well, and I thought it was a learning experience for the younger players.
Up front here with Mark.
How does Shaheem Card look this year? This spring, how's he sort of developed?
Shaheem has done really a good job. He's taken a leadership role, really trying to affect the other players out there, making calls, has a good understanding of the defense, and he's had a nice spring so far, and I think he played pretty well today.
Just want to ask about the linemen on both sides, how they look.
It's always hard for me. I get a much better feel for the interior play, the line play on both sides of the ball when I watch the film. So it would be kind of unfair because I'm kind of always watching things big picture-wise. So unless there's a glaring error, we probably had too much pressure on the quarterback at times. We got to do a better job in pass protection. We were able to run the ball, fairly consistently, not for big plays, but pretty consistently. And I think we moving some guys around in the offensive line probably helps us long term, and maybe doesn't necessarily help us play best today. We moved Alex from left tackle to right tackle just to get him experience playing both sides. Jedrick is playing right tackle and right guard, so he hasn't played guard for a while. So we're moving guys around. We play Lester at right guard and left guard. So we have to find out what the best combinations are, and if we lose players, what gives us the best options to get the best players on the field next year. So that becomes a little bit of a work in progress when you move guys around. It's not, you can't just assume just because a guy can play tackle that when he goes and plays guard, it's not going to take some reps, because things happen a little quicker inside, and you got to be able to react a little better, a little quicker.
Back over here with Cecil.
Just to follow up on the other side of the ball, Coach, are you moving defensive linemen around too? I'm sure Raekwon and Bugs are sort of in the same spots, but are you experimenting there as well?
Well, yeah, we have to some degree. We played, Q Williams a little bit at nose and 5 technique. And the young players, we're playing them at nose and 5 technique both to try to see, where they fit best. But we're looking for who can play on that side and who can help us, and where we can find some depth, because that is a bit of an issue for us right now.
Over here with Alex.
You mentioned the quarterbacks. How has Tua's injury affected, the competition from your point of view as far as the time frame goes, and how has he in limited reps?
Well, first of all, I don't have a time frame, so how could it affect it? I mean, you have a time frame, I don't. All right, so from your perspective, maybe I should ask you the question. From my perspective, if there's no time frame, how does it affect it? I can't answer that. I don't think that any time a player gets hurt at any position, all right, that he should be penalized for that. All right, so, does it give other players more of an opportunity to show what they can do? Absolutely. But he was able to, he probably got, I don't know, 15, 20 snaps today, something like that. and early in the scrimmage, and did well, you know. So, you know, but Jalen, you know, I thought, you know, started out a little bit slow, but he really, you know, made some really good plays as the scrimmage went on. So we were encouraged by that as well. So, look, this is not something that we're going to keep score on. All right, so when you ask me this question, I can't really give you any answer that is going to satisfy your needs.
Two more, Tony, and then Reiner will be done. Earlier this spring, you experimented with guys like Devontae Smith on both sides of the ball. Is that something that you were able to do in the scrimmage, or is he just sticking to offense?
Yeah, Smitty played some on defense today. You know, the goal was, can we get him a dozen plays at corner? But most of the time he played receiver. We probably could have done that a little more if, you know, Jerry Jeudy wouldn't have got hurt. Just makes us a little thin. So, you know, but all we're trying to do is to get Smitty enough turns that if we had an emergency situation next year, lost some guys or whatever, he in a week's time he could go help us depth-wise.
Finish it back with Reiner.
With so many new coaches on staff, how much are you evaluating how they function in a game-like scenario? And is there a process of acclimation there?
You know, I think everybody can learn. I think that, you know, being able to apply things situationally is really, really important. And I'm sure there's some learning experiences out there today from a situational standpoint where, you know, I don't care how much you go over things philosophically, there's always something that comes up that's a different situation at the end of the game that, you know, you didn't actually get covered. So there were some opportunities out there for us to learn, and I think that's basically what I look for in the coaches, and I think I want to define the expectation for what they are supposed to do, and I think they want to very much know what's expected of them so that they can be accountable to it. So that's what we try to do with the coaches, and I think sometimes when you have a scrimmage, it does give you an opportunity to learn from some situations that you hadn't covered in the past.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.